10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is up with Binary Order coming to me all the way from England, right?
That's all right. Yeah, England, London.
That's awesome. You're my first guest from London, so this is pretty cool.
Okay, hopefully your viewers can understand the accent. So,
Oh, you're fine.
well,
I mean,
yeah.
they understood a guest I had from Croatia, and he had quite the accent, so I think you're fine.
All right, yeah, I should be good then.
All right, so for anyone who's watching, tell us who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, I'm name's Ben Blank from Binary Order. I'm like the only guy behind it, so there's like no other band. It's just me. Studio project, predominantly like industrial metal, but yeah, goes into sort of other genres, ambient, more electro-driven stuff. But yeah, I'm Ben Blank from Binary Order, I suppose, is the short version of it.
For sure. All right. Hang on, I opened the wrong thing. I had a list of questions. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Oh, that might help. Oh, where is it? There it is. Okay. So yeah, you just mentioned your sound was interesting when it I'm like it's like goth, metalcore, techno, industrial, atmospheric, EDM. It's kind of chaotic. It's really cool though.
There's a bit of everything. It's like I listen
Sure.
to a lot of different genres, and sort of like with Binary Order, it's sort of like trying to express a lot of those in one coherent thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you have you brought this act out on the road yet or no?
Not yet. The everything I write and record, I'm very conscious to sort of do stuff in the studio that like can be replicated live. Like there's no trickery with the vocals, or like I'm not sort of writing anything that I can't play. Apart from the drums, they're all synthetic, and I can't really play drums. But like everything I am playing, like the programmed synthesizer stuff, the guitar, bass guitar, and singing, it's all stuff that I can do live. And like one day I would like to sort of get a band behind me and do it that way. But for now, it's sort of, just building the sound in the studio.
That makes sense. So let's talk about that Papa Roach thing you did.
Yeah, that is my most recent release. I think it's like just about a week and a half old now.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, I'm a huge Papa Roach fan. I'm a 90s kid, of course I am. But no, I thought that was really cool. What made you decide to do that?
It's good to hear you're a Papa Roach fan. It's like I've been a fan of them sort of since Infest came out, and throughout the years, it's like the band's been got a hard time here and there about the sound, and especially as like being a Papa Roach fan's never been the easiest. I got teased about it a fair bit at school, but I think now, like looking back, the band's like gathered a lot of respect for like how long they've been around, and stuff is still playing out. And I've always wanted to cover that song specifically. It's like I love that Infest album. I think a lot of people did, especially when it came out. It was up there with like Hybrid Theory, Chocolate Starfish, sort of later stage new metal stuff. But Thrown Away always stuck out to me because it's probably the heaviest song on that album, and it's just like for the new metal sound at the time, it had like quite an epic sort of build up. And as I sort of moved away from new metal in the sort of mid 2000s and sort of got into more electro stuff, I always had the idea that Thrown Away would like really work in the style I ended up doing it in. And it's just, I'm in the position now where I'm halfway between albums, and I was like, it would be good to put something out that I'll be able to put out quite quickly. And I don't know, going forward, I might do this every year, like a cover halfway through the year and then an album at the end of the year, but we'll see. But yeah, I think the big thing with Thrown Away for me is it always got overshadowed by the bonus track that was on the album, Tightrope. And I remember like people would sort of fast forward through Thrown Away to get the Tightrope, and that always sort of stuck with me. And for that, I sort of wanted to shine a bit more of a light on the track, which I thought was overlooked.
No, definitely. Hey, what's up, my longtime viewer Kyler? He was just singing Papa Roach. Good timing, I guess. If you could collaborate with any artist, who would you pick?
There's, I was actually speaking with a friend about this recently. It's an unusual pick, but there's a rapper, I think she's based in Los Angeles, called Sapphire, and I absolutely love her voice. She does, like, it's more aggressive version of like modern rap, and she's very, I don't know how to explain it because I don't listen to a lot of rap, but like the stuff that she's doing is so like kinetic and like really energetic, and like there's a lot of emotion in there, and it reminds me of sort of like the new metal stuff that was obviously about like 15 years ago. And she's got such an incredible voice for it, and she has done a few tracks where she's delved into rock, and I would love to like work with her. And like most of the people I'd want to work with are like female vocalists. There's Emma Ruth Rundle, if you've ever heard of her.
Who?
Emma Ruth Rundle.
No.
She's an American sort of like folk singer. And Chelsea Wolfe as well. She's quite similar to her. Like those kind of artists. Someone that's got a very sort of distinct, different sound to me. So like they would come in and, make the track something that I wouldn't be able to do on my own.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you were a salad, what kind of dressing would it have? That's my funny question I ask.
Salad cream, maybe. I don't really know too many different salad toppings. I don't eat salad that much. So yeah, the salad cream, I suppose that works because it's the only one I know.
All right. So if you couldn't make music, what would your creative outlet be?
I wanted to get into originally my career path was going to be video game journalism. I was very, very interested in video games when I was younger, and just the magazines that are about in the 90s and the websites that were coming up in the early 2000s, like early IGN and that kind of thing. I tried getting into that, and I really sort of liked the idea of it. And the video game industry is very different now. So I think if I were to do something that wasn't music now, because I actually worked in the video game industry for 10 years and I ended up hating it. It was the era of mobile games. So it wasn't really the games that I liked and grew up with. But yeah, if I weren't, the one thing I've really been drawn to whenever I've dabbled in it is video editing. I don't do a lot of video editing, but all the sort of advertisements and clips and YouTube videos that I'm putting together and that kind of thing. And when I'm watching a movie, I always I've got an eye for the editing in it, and I find it an art in itself that never really gets talked about. And it's similar to music in you've got this thing and you're piecing it together. So definitely something to do with film. I'd love to get into that.
That'd be cool. I definitely understand. I do all my editing, so.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm editing in I've got a version of Vegas, which is probably about 15 years old now, and it barely runs. I should probably upgrade it, but yeah, that's what I'm using for everything.
All right. So, what would you say is your motivation? What keeps you going?
It's weird because with the creating of the music, it was something I kept getting drawn back to. It was a hobby for the longest time, and I was sort of 13, 14 in the early 2000s when everyone was in cover bands, and that dissipated as sort of everyone got older, and I ended up making music on my own, and it was something I was always dabbling with because it's something I always loved. And throughout the years, I just kept coming back to it, and it took a long time, but I kind of realized that it wasn't just a hobby. This is what I actually want to do. and this is what like I'm really passionate about. And that's the one thing that really keeps me motivated. It's just the aspect of being creative with music and expressing myself through music. There's a joy in like what I found I can do with music that I haven't been able to replicate in any other like aspect of my life.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see. All right. What's your favorite snack?
Snack. I don't really snack, but I suppose favorite snack. I was really big into Haribo when I was younger. Like I was never much of like a crisp guy. I was always like gelatin sweets. You get Haribo in America, right?
Yeah, the gummy bears.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Like we get like these packs of those, and I would just like snack on those all the time. When I was at university, I was like just living off them. So probably Haribo favorite snack. So.
All right. Tell me about an impactful, like a song you heard when you were growing up that like had a huge impact on you and made you want to make music.
Going back to Papa Roach, it would be Between Angels and Insects. I remember when I first heard that it was a UK Saturday morning show, and they had a phone-in poll whether people, it was CD UK, if anyone knows it, and it was a poll whether people wanted to hear Crawling by Linkin Park or Between Angels and Insects by Papa Roach. And I think I'd heard Last Resort at this point. And I remember watching it, wanting to hear Crawling because I liked Crawling, obviously. I'd heard it, and like Papa Roach won by like 1% or 2%. And it's the first time I ever heard Between Angels and Insects, and I was just stunned by it, just like the darkness of the song. And I know in like retrospect, music's got a lot heavier and a lot more angry, so it's hard to sort of put yourself in the shoes of like a 13-year-old hearing Between Angels and Insects. But compared to like Chocolate Starfish and Hybrid Theory and the other stuff I was listening to, there was like the music video was so intense, and like Between Angels and Insects really blew me away, and that's what made me want to buy the Infest album. And the lyrics of that song and the meaning of that song was quite eye-opening for like a 13-year-old kid, you know, about consumerism and capitalism, and it's full of like quotes from Fight Club, a lot of stuff that I found overwhelming, like trying to understand back then, and that really sort of shaped my love for like music in general and sort of songwriting. And for years after that, I was like trying to rip it off in different forms. So,
all right. How'd you come up with your like project name, Binary Order?
Comes from a Nine Inch Nails lyric. Year Zero, the title, the album's Year Zero, the song's Zero Sum. I always get that wrong, despite my band name coming from it. There's a lyric in the song, all we ever were just zeros and ones. And I always like the idea of like everyone just being like binary or binary code. And if everyone's binary, then like, you know, life is like a binary order. And it's sort of like, I went about it that way. And that's where I got the name from. It was, with all we ever were just zeros and ones. No, all we ever were just zeros and ones.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's like, it's sort of like me sort of like reverse engineering Trent Reznor's lyrics, but yeah, it definitely stood out to me.
I understand. My company, I named it after a lyric from a song by my favorite band, so I understand.
Oh, what is it?
The song is Lunar by the Portuguese metal band Moonspell.
Okay, I don't know it, but
yeah, that was the first song of theirs I ever heard, and one of the lyrics is "Show me your moon burns," and I was like, I like that.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty cool.
All right. So you're working on, or you're putting out something new pretty soon, right? New album.
Kind of, yeah. I'm like in the final stage, in the worst possible stages of it at the moment. Like the album's like 95% done, and it's that 5% that's the stuff I've been putting off, the stuff that's really difficult, like the vocal bits I need to do, and it's really hot over here at the moment, and it's just boiling while I'm trying to do these final vocal bits and trying to get it together, but it's very close to being done. And then like the release schedule sort of going to be figured out after that. But yeah, the album's called The Future Belongs to the Mad. There's 12 tracks. There's one track I'm really struggling with at the moment, but it will be 12 tracks. I've got a voice in my head telling me to like just turn it down to 11, but no, it's gonna be done. But yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment, and the release of the album is going to be like late November, very early December. But
Okay. And you
it's
sent me the demos for that, right?
yeah. I think you're over
Yeah.
5
I tell
tracks.
you what, just listening to those was an experience. Like,
Uh,
it's been a hot minute since, I just sat and listened to something, and I'm like, whoa.
okay,
Like, it was I love it.
because you're like the first person to hear those as well. Actually, no one's. It's quite. I think it's quite different from the last album. Like I really pushed myself with my production. Like I really.
For sure. Like, your
Um,
older or your last album was good, but like this is just it's like a full-on experience to sit and listen to these tracks. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I love it. There's just
oh,
so much
thank you.
like depth to it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, you're pretty much you are the first person to hear it. So like this is, because it could be just an absolute mess where it's just me in the studio making it. I could like just make nonsense, but no, to real like initially it's getting some good reception is like, all right, at least all the effort I'm putting in is worth it. So
Yeah, I know. I went back, I listened to your last album, and I'm like, okay, that's really good. But then I listened to your the demos of the new one, and I don't know,
yeah,
it was a trip. It was really good. I
yeah.
definitely look forward to hearing the rest of it.
I sent you 5 tracks, and the first 4 are what I plan to be the first 4 singles, in the order that like I listed them for you as well. So it's going to go like the heavy, the light one, the heavy, the light one. So, and then I sent you the title track as well because that's done at the moment. I
Yep.
just wanted to see what you thought of that as well. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's really good to hear that you liked them.
Oh, you definitely have to let me know when it's like done. Send me a copy early, and I'll write up a review of it and share it all over the place.
Oh, absolutely, man. You're one of the first to get it because it sounds like it's guaranteed a good review. So,
For sure. Have you had any like interesting interactions with any of your fans?
Not well. I wouldn't really say that, but like where I've put "Thrown Away" by the Pepper Roach cover out recently, there's been like it's been mainly like everyone has heard it has liked it, but like I've been running ads on it for Facebook, and like some
Right.
of the comments I've been getting on that, like there was one dude that didn't. He seemed angry that it sounded like a different band was doing it.
That's
His
the
comment
point.
was like, "This sounds nothing like Papa Roach. This sounds like a completely different song."
Well,
And
that's
it's
the
like,
point.
yeah, I know. It's like the cover, and I replied back sarcastically, going, "Oh, thanks for like saying I did a good job turning it in, like doing my own version of it." But this guy was angry, man. He was like, "This sounds nothing like Papa Roach. Sounds like completely different bands doing their songs."
It's like,
Yeah,
well,
well, it's like that's the thing with putting music out and live and stuff. I've known other musicians and they're very sort of they hate when sort of they're not getting anything but praise, and I get it. It can be like when I get a review come through and I can't see what the score is and I have to sit there and read it and it's like this could just rip me apart. And I have had the last album I think I had like 1 or 2 bad reviews that were like difficult to read, but because you put all your art out there and you're getting this feedback, but at the same time,
right.
it's if I couldn't deal with that, like I just wouldn't put the music out, and I'm putting the music out there, so I'm expecting it. And if someone's engaging with it, whether it's like negative or positive, I still like that. I still like people are able to express their opinions one way or another, because there's been music and bands I've hated and I've
Right.
enjoyed the freedom to express myself on those, and it goes both ways. And I think unless someone's being like just malicious, everyone's got a point, with
Right.
what they're saying about something. So my cover, doesn't sound exactly like the Infest version, and maybe that's what that guy wanted. So, you can't please everyone.
I don't like that though. Like when a band puts out a cover and it's literally just a carbon copy of the original.
Yeah,
It's like, why'd you bother? I don't necessarily get it. Like I want, like we need some callbacks to the original, but like do your own thing, make it your own.
yeah, I completely agree with that. Like I don't want to name drop, but there's
Right.
like covers that are coming instantly to mind of like you listen to it and it's like apart from having a different singer, it's like the exact same song, and it's like I don't really get why you're doing that. And like some of the best covers that I really like are just complete reimaginings of the original.
I definitely agree.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about your tattoos? I see you got a bunch of ink going on over there.
Yeah, I've got a few. I think the newest one is like I've had this extended now. So originally it was just like the block work that's
Mm,
like there and the stuff up there, but like I've got like connecting
that's
bit
really
now
cool.
goes up into thanks.
And that
It goes
black
up
work
into the
looks
shoulder.
real nice. It's like not streaky or anything. That's nice black work.
Yeah, the guy that does it is a dude named George. He works for a place in London, Soho. What's the bloody shop called? I can't remember. You just put in George London Soho, he'll come up. He's a really good tattooist, and like he's done everything. Because originally I had different tattoos, and I got to a point when it's like I found my tattoos really embarrassing because they were all done when I was like 19, 20,
Mm.
and I just wanted to get them redone. And it's been a process of like 2 years of like just doing the whole thing over, and it's not done yet. I've got a session in 2 weeks' time to get like my neck all
Oh,
done in the
nice.
same style. So this is going to connect all up through there. I've got the binary order logo on that side. I don't know if
Well,
you can
that's
see it.
cool.
It's not filled in yet, but
Yeah.
the next session is going to be like all the next stuff, and yeah, just going from there. And eventually, I'm going to be pretty much covered. I think I don't know how far I want to go with it, but yeah. Have you got
That's
any
really
yourself?
cool. Huh?
You got any tattoos yourself?
I've got a few. Nothing major. I'm not done with this yet, but it's for a goth band out of Georgia I really like.
Okay, I like the font on that.
Yeah. I'm gonna fill it
Pretty
in, add
cool.
a couple of bats around it because their singer calls his fans his baby bats.
Yeah.
And then I've got a Moonspell logo right there.
Okay. That's
And
pretty
then
cool.
I've got a couple of runes over here.
It's always really difficult to show them on the camera because you don't know like what angle you
It,
are.
it is hard to show it off.
Yeah, it's like this thinks it wraps around. It's like what part of the arm am I actually like showing? But yeah.
Right.
But no, yours look pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah, this one I'm gonna finish this one. And I'm gonna put one down this arm, so that way like symmetry.
It's just like booking them in to get it because like I hate. I don't know. I'm like it's just the like every time I've had the tattoo sessions that I've had done, like what I've got covered is over the span of 3 sessions, and they're like 7 hours long. And like you walk out of there, and it's like I don't think I can do that again for like a long time. Then it heals and it looks really nice, and it's like, oh, actually, I will go back. And then you're like 3 hours in, it's like, oh, I can't believe I'm like back here doing this
Right.
again. And it's I'm enjoying having the tattoos, but I'll be glad when they're done. When
For
I
sure.
haven't got like it's the shaving as well, like because I've got quite a bit of hair on my arms, and it's like that's just gone for like a month till it grows back again, and it's
Oh, and it itches so bad when it grows back.
the itching is really bad. My previous tattoos, because I had ones that like this was covering up, and I remember I woke up and I was just scratching my arm, and I just didn't know what I was doing because I was so tired. Ended up like scratching a like large chunk of the tattoo off, and it was
Oh
just
no!
that tattoo was forever. Yeah, it's just I hate the scratching because you can't control yourself when you're asleep. You're just like scratching
Right.
yourself, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, for sure. All right. Do you have any pets?
yeah, I do actually. They're not technically mine, but they're my
Okay.
flatmates. I have two dogs. One name is Bedrick, and the other name is Ned. I can't remember what breed they are. They're like mongrel mixes, basically, but they're great. We've had Ned. He's 11 years old, but he's been here about 2 years now. And we've had Bedrick 1 year. I think he's like 6 or 8. But they're great. Like I've grown up with dogs, and I've always loved having dogs around because
Yeah.
they've got like, such a strong personality, especially when you bond with them properly. And yeah, they keep you active and they're great company and stuff. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I've never had cats. I don't dislike cats, but like some of the people I've dated in the past have had cats, and they're cool. I love the sort of enthusiasm of dogs. Like when you
See,
come home and
that's
they're
what like
like,
overwhelms me about dogs. I have one, but I like my cats better. Shh, don't tell her I said that. Anyway, I don't know. I just like that cats will like do their own thing and not in your face all the time.
yeah, see, I'm the opposite with dogs. That's why I like dogs. And like with a cat, I know it's the meme on the internet and everything. It's like they've got an attitude. It's like you're their pet and not theirs and
Right.
stuff. And it's like but I like that with dog. It's just that enthusiasm and that sort of loyalty is great, and the reliability as well with dogs. I know a lot of people aren't great with that, because a cat you can sort of just let it out and do its own thing, but a dog you have to sort of like, you have to walk it, and I like all that, a lot of the aspects of responsibility with a dog.
Okay, that's cool. Where can people follow you and find all your music?
I'm on everything, including Threads now, because that's the new thing.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet. Is it worth checking out?
I just got in early just to grab the handle. It's basically just it looks like a mix between Instagram and Twitter, and I know a lot of people are jumping to it because like there's the whole anti-Musk thing at the moment,
Right.
and yeah, Threads is run by Meta and Zuckerberg, so everyone's sort of jumping on it for that reason. It's like the one I use the most is Facebook, and everything sort of like gets reposted to all the others. But yeah, I'm on Threads, Twitter, Facebook. I don't use any of them for like posting statuses or memes or any of that stuff. I am actively on Reddit actually. Because I've got my link tree, and it links to my personal Reddit. That's more like my own sort of comments and stuff, and less about Binary Order the band. But yeah, the link tree, which I think is linktr.ee/binary order, has like everything on it apart from Threads. I need to put Threads on there actually. So
all right. Is there anything else we haven't touched on that you wanted to talk about?
Can't think about anything. Nothing off the top of my head. No. Have you run out of questions then?
I have. Hey, what's up, Steph? My best friend in the whole world is up in here watching.
Hello, Steph.
It's evening where he's at over in London.
Yes, it's like 20 to 6 at the moment. So
yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Whereabouts are you in America then?
I'm in Maine.
Okay, I've heard of it.
So
I don't
know the northernmost part of the East Coast, but then I'm off the coast of that on an island.
Okay, I've heard of it from like a film or something, and that's how I know everything in America. Like I either know it from a film or from Red Letter Media. Like that's how I know everything. But yeah, you said like you listened to the album, the 5 tracks I sent you. Which one stood out to you then?
Hang on, I need to go back to it to
reference the numbers, because I haven't announced any track listing yet either, so that would be quite interesting.
Gotcha. Yeah, let me just go back to it and reference what the titles were. Okay. I really liked "Feel Again."
Okay, that's a special song. That was I'm a big fan of stuff like Drab Magistry and I need to say another name because then it sounds like I've just ripped them off. I haven't, but like the Drab Magistry sound, Ritual House, that kind of like 80s revival sound going on with a lot. And sort of that song was is my attempt of sort of like doing that with the more driving sort of like drum and bass aspects in it. And it's the only song on the album that has lead guitar on it actually. There's a fair bit of lead guitar on the previous album, but this one I wanted to change all the lead guitar to be synths, which I have done, except for this one. That's the only one with actually sort of lead guitar on it, and really happy with how that's come out. It's like drenched in reverb and chorus and stuff, but I'm planning for that to be the second single. Who knows how it's going to come out when it gets done, but yeah.
I also just felt like that one just was really, really emotional. I mean, that's the whole point, but like that just had like this crazy depth of emotion to it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I was sort of a bit trepidatious with it. It's like some of the lyrics in that are really sort of on the nose for me. And I want to walk the line between sort of like expressing myself honestly and being cringy. And I really, there was a lot of revisions to like what I was going to say, because the actual line song at the end, can't remember off the top of my head, but it's I'll Never Feel Love Again. But then the song's actually just called Feel Again. So I was originally I wasn't going to add the word love in there, but I thought the way the chorus sort of builds up to that sort of really gives it that hook emotionally, at least for me as the guy that wrote it and the listener. But yeah, I'm quite I'm very happy with how that's come out, actually. So I'm really excited for people to see it because it's even with the 5 tracks I sent you, I think it like stands out, and I think it's going to stand out on the album as well. So I'm interested to see what people's reception is to that.
And I also really like the first one you sent me, Slow Blade.
Slow Blade's going to be the first single. That's got references all over the place. The title of the song is a reference to Dune. Slow Blade penetrates shield. I think that's the thing. And there's a reference to Terminator 2 in it as well. And Blood Brothers by Papa Roach is in our nature to destroy ourselves. And yeah, like with that song, it's really struggled to get that going. Once that came together, the whole album did, because it's very indicative of like the album sound, that crazy glitch industrial bridge and outro.
Steph says, I love Dune. Grew up watching that.
The 1982 movie. Is it 1982? The one, David Lynch one. Yeah, that's. I'm a big fan of the recent one and the book. And the original one's decent. It's a good attempt. It's a good 80s attempt.
I just looked up 1984. You were close.
It's 2 years out. I was thinking of Blade Runner. I know Blade Runner's 1982. But yeah, like my previous album was called Messages to the Deep. Messages from the Deep, and that's a quote from the new Dune movie. The original one, but okay. Yeah, I've only seen the David Lynch movie one and a half times. I tried watching it years ago before I got into Dune. And I grew up being a Blade Runner fan, and Dune was around the same sort of time, and I wanted to check it out. And I remember like just falling asleep the first time I watched it. I was drinking. So it wasn't the film, but I watched it a second time after reading the book and after seeing the new one. And I think like what David Lynch managed to do with it with the time constraints is very impressive. And I love Sting.
David Lynch movies are just impressive to begin with.
Yeah,
stuff is just so out there and bizarre and sometimes hard to follow, but it's just so good.
I need to see more. I know it's embarrassing, but I think I've seen Eraserhead, which I loved. I watched that like alone, like when I was at university, and it just like the atmosphere in that was just so overwhelming. I keep trying to get people to watch it, but like I show them the dinner scene with the tiny chickens, and they're like, "I'm not watching this." And what's the other film? Lost Highway. I watched that.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember the title. I love that film.
I'm a big fan of Perfect Drug by Nine Inch Nails. It's one of my favorite Nine Inch Nails songs, and it was made for that soundtrack. And so, like, I have to see this film. Again, I saw that at university. I can't remember too much about it. I want to go back to it, but outside,
of course, that movie was like America's big introduction to Rammstein, too.
Yeah, because they play. It's like the self-titled song that plays during a party scene or something. I remember that. I remember because it comes on the German part of Rammstein. I was like, this is Rammstein singing, because I didn't know that. I only knew Mutter, the album at the time, and like the follow-up, like Rosenrot, and the Orange album as well. I can't remember.
Riser.
That's it. Yeah, I thought it was like something else. I didn't want to embarrass myself. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a huge Rammstein fan, so I knew what one you meant.
But yeah, like I knew Du Hast, and that was from the same album as the one, which I think, but getting confused, I think. But yeah, Lost Highway, the other film, Eraserhead, and Dune are the only 3 David Lynch movies I've seen. Haven't seen any Twin Peaks yet, which
me neither.
Have you not seen Twin Peaks?
No.
Like everyone has. I really, really want to. Do you play video games at all?
Not so much. A little bit, but not really.
There was a game called Alan Wake that was like heavily influenced by Twin Peaks that I played, and that's the closest I've come to the series. But yeah.
Yeah, I play Left 4 Dead 2 on a daily basis, and that's like the only game I play.
Really?
Yeah.
So you play like quite a hardcore sort of old school now shooter, but like nothing else.
Not really, no. Okay. I've tried like the most recent not the most recent, the I'm bad with remembering what number it was, but the oh crap, what is it now? Shit. My brain ain't working today, man. Resident Evil. Not the most recent one, but the one before it I tried, and I just kept getting lost. And I'm horrible with anything where you have to like double back and go back to the same places or follow
Is
a
it
story.
the first person one? That would be Resident Evil 7, I think.
Yeah, the one with like all the weird fungus and bugs and
That's
shit.
Resident Evil. Yeah,
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7. I'm not a big fan of like the first. I love the old school Resident Evils and
Mhm.
like one all the way through to Code Veronica, but I can't get on with these new ones. Like I like sort of the the trashy sort of action vibe of the old ones,
Yeah.
especially like the original Resident Evil 2. It's feels like a campy sort of action movie, and these new ones sort of like lean more into like horror with like Seven's very much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Oh,
and the new
absolutely.
ones like got not zombies, like vampires and
Yeah.
werewolves. That
Yeah.
kind of
I
stuff.
love watching like playthroughs of those games, but I can't actually play it myself. I'm horrible. But like watching other people do it is fun.
Yeah, it depends if there's commentary on them
Yeah.
or not. Like if it's just someone playing them, then it's like that's just as scary as doing
Right.
it. But if you've got a little dude in the corner like talking, it's like it takes the
Do you
bite
like
out of it.
do you like horror movies?
I'm really mixed on horror movies.
Okay.
I don't like gore porn. I
Mm.
find like stuff like Final Destination and like the Hostel movies and like where it's just people being killed for the sake of it. Like I don't really like get anything out of that, but I really like monster movies, like movies with like a creature.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of like the 80s stuff, like
Oh,
The
absolutely.
Thing. I absolutely love The Thing because that's more like the psychological aspect of like. I think if you took the monster out of that and it was just Kurt Russell and everyone else like just going insane, I'd still like that movie.
Yeah.
Freddy, like Nightmare on Elm Street as well, because like the character Freddy Krueger,
Oh,
Jason
absolutely.
Voorhees. Big fan of
Yes.
like the early Hellraiser movies as well. They're really cool.
Yeah. Which Hellraiser film is your favorite? If you bring those movies up, I have to ask.
I recently watched those because the remake came out, which I
Yeah.
hated. And I know there's like a lot of like everyone loved that remake, and I just felt
I
like I was
actually
watching a
haven't
different film.
watched it yet, even though I'm a huge Hellraiser person.
If you're a huge Hellraiser fan, there's bits in it that are really annoying. Like
Yeah.
I won't get into spoilers or anything, but it's stuff that like would be better in like a slasher movie. But like, so I made my flatmate watch the remake with me, and then we went back and watched the first two. And I grew up preferring the second one because the Leviathan aspect and the Danes
Definitely.
and like the lore is a lot better. But watching them back to back, I think the first one is like better performances and it's got a better story. And I really like the character of Frank in the first one and like his
Yeah.
manipulation and the effects when he's like resurrecting. So good. That holds up so well.
So good. It holds up, you can't even do anything that good with, computer stuff these days. Like
And
that
like,
is so good.
I like the second one again when I watched it, but it was just the inverse of like what my memory was. Like the second one just felt the budget wasn't there for what they were trying to like achieve.
Yeah.
And I feel like the story kind of felt like a bit rushed compared to the first one because obviously the first one was based on the Hellbound Heart, and it was sort of more laid out. But the thing when the Doctor comes in, I can't remember his name.
That is cheesy as shit.
Yeah, I like the stop motion with the snakes in his hand and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the effects, but like he comes in and then Pinhead's like battling him, and it's like it's better if the whole thing was just like lost.
Most people hate it, but I'm a total sucker for part 3.
Part 3 is very sort of 90s goth. It is based in like a 90s goth club, isn't it?
Right.
I remember. I like some of the Cenobites, and you got the dude with the CDs in his head.
Yeah, I freaking love that. That's so cool. And the one with the camera in his face, that's kind of neat.
As they went forward, I did like the inventiveness of like what they were doing with the Cenobites, but I think they lost the pull for me. Was like, these things weren't monsters. They weren't sort of like just coming to kill people. They could be reasoned with. Like they had motivation, and there was like a story there. And I think as they went on, they lost that. It definitely still had that in 3 because I don't know, like I'm trying to remember.
Once I get into like I forget which part it is, but it's the main story is all about like discovering that Pinhead was a soldier and like delving deep into that stuff. It gets a little like funky.
Yeah, look, there was one that was directed by the guy that did the original Doctor Strange. Like, I think his name is Scott Derrickson. He did like 5 or 6, and it's called Bloodline, and it's more of like a noir investigative movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was really, really good. The one
That
when
was really good.
when he's seeing like is it like there was a woman or like one that was like half a Cenobite, and he's putting his fingers underneath his chest skin and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that one being really good. But yeah, like, so I'd say 1, 2, and then whatever number that is, and then everything else.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right. Yeah. Anything else you got?
No, that's pretty much me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So managed to talk about the new EP, which is out now, which features some remixes. 2 of them by me, and one of them's by a good friend of mine, Lewis Gunson, Arcade Mix. He done the Good Death remix. The Parasite remix I actually did in under a day. I had to, yeah, I know. I don't know how I did it. It was the most stressful film. I'm never gonna do that again, because it was just the 3 tracks originally, and like Spotify's like, this is a single, not an EP. It hasn't got 4 songs, and it's like, I'll do another remix. I can get that out in like a day, and it was just like every minute of that 24-hour was spent on that, and it was just crazy. But yeah, I think it came out all right. No one's mentioned like, oh, this one remix sounds like worse than everything else. So I think I've gotten away with it. But yeah, that's out now. Really happy with how that's came out, and yeah, got the album coming out soon. Be some singles out soon. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, make sure you tune in about 2 hours from now when I go live with Damn to Downfall. And until then, all right, yeah, make sure you find all the Binary Order stuff, follow him, watch for the new music, and later. Where's my button? I suck. There it is.
Drop the bass.